The F&M deputy leader dismisses rumors of a rift within the party. This as F&M MPs back their deputy in calling for homeowners to protest. Could government build a prime minister's residence? Plus, BEC bills said to be on the decline. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Bonnie Toot, and NV12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Free National Movement Deputy Leader Loretta Butler-Turner is responding to a perceived rift within the party, days after she and party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis appear to be on two different pages in regard to a planned protest. Christina McNeil reports.
F&M Deputy Leader Loretta Butler-Turner admitting there are some party issues that should stay behind closed doors. And despite the public perception that there is a rift within the party, Butler-Turner maintains that the F&M has the right men and women for the job.
It's always good to not allow, any type of division to be put into the public domain. I think that as individuals and human beings, we'll all have differing opinions. Obviously, we're a part of one organization. I think that when those differing opinions do occur, we should deal with them behind closed doors. When we allow them to come into the public domain, it pretty much erodes, the confidence that people would have in an organization. People have differences of opinion. I think that, even in a marriage, there are going to be differences. But does that mean it's going to dissolve the marriage? I don't think so. So, we'll continue to have our differing views, but we'll come together collectively, hopefully, on the major things. And I think we have come together on this one.
Butler-Turner shied away from confirming or denying a rift within the party, explaining that there are differences of opinion in every relationship. She was responding to reports of discord between herself and party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis in regard to his support for a proposed march on Parliament. It was earlier this week that the Long Island Member of Parliament announced that she would invite struggling homeowners who were facing foreclosure to join her in protesting the Prime Minister's decision to step in and save the home of value-added tax coordinator Ishmael Lightbourne. In the wake of that announcement, questions arose about the integrity of the party and its cohesiveness moving forward. Butler-Turner says she is not without fault, but every member must be careful to protect the party's reputation.
For my part, maybe I need to be more cognizant of how people feel. And, I would do that. I would continue to try and defend whatever values, principles, ideologies that our party represents. But, I think we all have to do that, and that would be important, especially for an organization that wants to be the government of the Bahamas. I can't say. I haven't really measured it, to be quite honest. I mean, I imagine that it's something that people are discussing. I saw the headlines. Obviously, when you have a sensational headline, people are going to certainly have a lot of talk about it. At the end of the day, I think that we still have the best people that are going to be there to have the interest of the Bahamian people at heart.
Butler-Turner adds that she will continue to stand for what she believes in, and that includes the plight of homeowners who are struggling to stay above water. She has been in communication with several families, including one family of 3 adults and 4 children who stand to be evicted this weekend if help is not delivered soon.
I'll give you an example of one of the persons that I'm speaking with right now, without calling the family's name. They actually have a mortgage with the Bank of the Bahamas. And the husband lost his job, got another job, luckily, and they're now paying half of their mortgage. It's half of what was previously arranged with their bank, but they've consistently paid half. They're going to be evicted from their home this weekend unless there's an intervention, a very real intervention. Maybe the Prime Minister needs to speak with the Bank of the Bahamas and the Mortgage Corporation, places like that that the government does have control over, and ask them to be more lenient with these individuals.
Butler-Turner says the Christie administration has let down hundreds of homeowners who were sold on the Progressive Liberal Party's campaign promise to offer assistance and aid through its mortgage relief plan, which failed. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Meantime, Dr. Minnis dismissed reports in the Tribune newspaper that his party does not support Butler-Turner's call for a march against the Prime Minister as a fabrication. Minnis insisted that the march is now under consideration. Whether the party supports it or not, though, senior F&M members are still encouraging struggling homeowners to protest.
At some point, we're going to have to grow up, take responsibility, and come out and hold all of us as government representatives and opposition representatives accountable.
East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquist says Bahamians have been silent for far too long over preferential treatment given to certain people. However, in the wake of Prime Minister Christie's revelation that he called a bank's managing director to save VAT messenger Ishmael Lightbourne's home, Turnquist encourages other homeowners facing foreclosure to stand up and speak out.
As a party and as an individual MP, I certainly sympathize with those persons who will find themselves in difficulty in respect to their mortgages, and certainly I will support any of them. And I encourage them to let their disappointment and their concern be known to the government, whether that's through a march or some other form of demonstration.
F&M Deputy Leader Loretta Butler-Turner recently took to Facebook, calling on hundreds of struggling homeowners to march to Parliament and demand that the Prime Minister also fight to save their homes. St. Anne's MP Hubert Chipman says he believes there is cause for a march, noting that even if the F&M doesn't agree to it, such a protest shouldn't be made political anyway.
People are struggling in this country. They are hurting as far as paying their mortgages, meeting other obligations. So you don't need to make that political, right? I think F&Ms are struggling, PLPs are struggling, DNAs are struggling, so we don't really need to make that political. So if somebody organized a march and you afford a cause, I see no reason why you should support it. You shouldn't support it.
Chipman and F&M Senator John Boswick say the message must be sent that it's not okay to look out for one person when so many others are hurting.
The doing for friends and family, for boys, taking care of each other. It has a stench to it. And I encourage Bahamian people to stand up for their rights wherever, however.
Friend or no friend. It has nothing to do with friendship. You are the leader of this nation. What applies to Mrs. Toot applies to Mr. Chipman and vice versa.
F&M MPs say this issue highlights the need for government to update the public on its talks with clearing banks over a revised mortgage relief plan. Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis defended the Christie administration's initial mortgage relief plan, insisting some people have benefited from it. His comments come as the central bank reported an increase in mortgage arrears. The Christie administration initially said the plan would assist more than 1,000 homeowners, but in actuality, it helped fewer than 10.
I think it will always appear that the plan is failing, but to my view it is not failing. It's just that people have to be able to qualify first for the plan, and secondly, the mortgage lenders have to be cooperating with the initiatives that the plan has in fact been devised, initiatives devised.
The government allocated $10 million for the plan back in September 2012. Government is eyeing a new Parliament building and Prime Minister's residence. During the opening of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association seminar this morning, the Prime Minister said he has already considered details for those new buildings. Dana Smith reports.
Although not giving a price tag or specific date, Prime Minister Barry Christie today spoke of future plans to create an official residence of the Prime Minister. He also said he would like to, as soon as possible, make recommendations for the establishment of a new parliament. This parliament would house both the House of Assembly as well as the Senate and include offices for members of Parliament.
I would like to appear, Mr. Speaker, before a committee of the House of Assembly as the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance in as near in the future as it can be constitutionally arranged. I would like to appear formally before that committee with a view to making specific recommendations about the establishment of a new parliament that would house both the House of Assembly and the Senate, that would embrace the principle of all of the modern conveniences in the House of Assembly, inclusive of offices for members of Parliament. So therefore, okay?
Christie explained such a new building would allow the country's business to take place in a more modern, organized setting. The Prime Minister added he does have in mind a specific recommendation regarding the location for this potential building, as well as an official residence for the Prime Minister.
In addition to which, I would wish to be heard as to where that facility should be. I have a specific recommendation to make that will take into consideration that we have little time left, given the development taking place on this island, for appropriate places for a parliament. Because when you go and look and you ask the question, even a prime minister's residence, where do you put it?
Christie said he, Tourism Minister Obi Wiltcombe, and Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder were in the Cayman Islands last week having lunch with the Premier and Governor at the Governor's residence, which was located on a beach. Christie joked he has already thought of potential properties here in New Providence for a Prime Minister's residence.
I thought of 3 places on the beach I could put a residence for a Prime Minister. And so, to the leader of the opposition, you should live in hope. You're much younger than I am. That we could sit here and we could say that really it wouldn't affect you, but you know, if you're going to become Prime Minister one day, it will affect you. You'll be the beneficiary of it. Not so much me, because I'm in the twilight of my political career.
When we caught up with opposition leader Hubert Minnis after Christie's remarks, he said he is in agreement with the potential plans.
I've always been an advocate of official Prime Minister's residence. I think the day will come when we'll have a Prime Minister from the Family Island, and should he not have some residence to go into, he or she, or we still feel that he should rent an apartment or whatever else. Not only that, but an official residence allow outside guests some form of accommodation also, meetings, luncheons, etc. But most importantly, an official residence become a tourist attraction. So you can't look at just the myopic picture today. You have to look at the global picture. I think we need a parliamentary building, but it's not political. That's an institution you're talking about. So there are some things beyond politics.
Christie's comments come at a time when the government says it's focused on generating more revenue to lower the country's debt. But Christie did not say exactly how much a new parliament building and Prime Minister's residence would cost, or when exactly it would be built. Christie did explain, though, the parliamentary institution should not be withheld by budgetary concerns.
We've caused there to be a feeling that the institution of Parliament must be a budgetary concern as opposed to a national event. When it comes to a parliament in the Bahamas, we must be able to look back and say, together we did this, we put it there, and centuries from now, that is where the Parliament of the Bahamas will be, and people will appreciate it for its majesty in terms of what we have done, because it is a major institution.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Dana Smith.
Policy changes at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation have enabled BEC to reduce customers' bills. Executive Chairman Leslie Miller says the corporation was able to cut overtime pay last year by 35%, or $4.2 million over the previous year. He says BEC has cut overtime pay by a further $2.2 million for the year so far, and projects it will reduce overtime pay in the next quarter by a substantial margin. Miller said double-dipping, the practice of employees receiving 100% of their salaries and national insurance pay when sick, has been discontinued. As a result, he said, the corporation will save $1.8 million this year.
That saves us another $1.8 million a year. That the people money that will now go back into giving them a break on their light bill instead of going in people's pockets. So you look at the 2.2 so far, the 1.8. We getting where we want to go, but we ain't there as where we would like to be. But we're doing our best. We just ask the public to work with us, bear with us a little longer, and we're going to do the best we can. We've been out.
Miller says limiting overtime pay of employees on the Family Islands, namely Abaco, Eleuthera, and Bimini, remains a challenge. He also announced that the corporation's electricity assistance program, which was scheduled to end this month after a previous extension, could continue indefinitely.
The minister has told us he wants every light on in this country, Honorable Philip Davis. And we have done everything possible to do so. Even when management raised said, listen, we are not getting in enough funds to enable us to pay our bills. And we still say, listen, if the man get 20% of his bill, turn him on.
According to Miller, there are around 4,700 residential customers without power. When MB12 returns, the hotel union blasts government over layoffs in Freeport. So stay with us.